In this video, I want to talk about the importance of discarding material in my compositional process. But before we get into it, I wanted to show you one of my good compositions, and then if you stick around till the end of the video, I'll show you one of my bad compositions. So I started composing in high school, just dabbling a little bit, but I didn't get serious about it until my junior year of college. And when I get serious about something, I get really serious about it. So serious, in fact, that I set myself a challenge that every week I would be required to write one piece of music and then print it out and transpose it and everything to get it ready for chamber jazz ensemble. And so I stuck to it very, very strictly for the remaining 2 years, my junior year and senior year in college. In addition to writing the music and preparing it every week, I also did some formal study of composition. People talk all the time about transcribing jazz solos, where you take a solo and you learn it note for note. But I took that same process and I applied it to compositions in general, and basically turn from a recording a lead sheet of that song. And sometimes I would bring it to ensemble to practice and just to have fun and play it. But mostly it was just for me to digest the information that was present in the composition and break down why I liked it so much. Now, I don't know if I can show the sheet music, because I guess technically these are other people's music, even though I created the sheet music myself. But here's 6 pieces that I transcribed, and I studied many more just by listening. So between the transcriptions of compositions and my weekly challenge, I ended up writing over 50 pieces of original music over the course of those 2 years. The most surprising lesson I learned from all my study and hard work wasn't anything about melody or harmony. Rather, it was about the subject of the amount of material that I threw away. And I discarded a tremendous amount of it. Out of roughly 50 pieces of music, I ended up with 16 pieces that I thought were good. These are pieces that I would feel comfortable putting on a performance with, bringing them to the stage, or even recording a record someday. That leaves the other 34 pieces that I discarded, I threw away. So if you calculate it out, it gives me a hit rate of about 32%. And that's not even counting all the ideas that I would sketch at my piano, but were so bad that I wasn't even tempted to put it to paper. For a long time, I felt insecure about those numbers. However, as I continued to practice and get better, I realized something important. Throwing ideas wasn't evidence that I was a poor composer or failing. It was evidence that my standards were improving. I find that beginner composers often cling to every idea and treat them as precious as I used to. But as your taste starts to develop, you realize that some ideas are just bad. Some ideas cannot be saved regardless of how much effort or how many revisions you put in. And learning to recognize poor compositional material is a skill just as any other. So here are 3 reasons why throwing ideas away is a valuable element of the compositional process. Firstly, I truly believe that quality comes through quantity. It's easy to think about that 32% hit rate and make it feel very bleak. However, if you focus on just generating a lot of different ideas and iterating quickly, and you triple the output of your compositional ideas, well, then what seems bleak actually becomes a very steady source of good material. The second thing that I realized is that bad ideas are not a waste of time. Even from the failed compositions, I always came away with some piece of knowledge, something that I've learned. And oftentimes I would find that the lessons I learned from a failure were just as important as the lessons I learned from a success. And thirdly, I truly believe that throwing away ideas gives you a feeling of compositional freedom. I think many composers, especially beginners, overemphasize the importance of each idea. But when you start to understand that discarding information is part of the compositional process, well, it frees you to be more creative, to iterate faster, to try something that might not work just to see what happens. And that's an incredible sense of freedom. Ironically, the less I became attached to my ideas, the better they became. Nowadays, I compose music in a digital audio workstation with MIDI tools primarily. However, if you take a look at the composer POV videos on my channel, you'll still see that a large portion of my process is experimentation and discarding stuff. The furthest I'll go nowadays for an idea that is like kind of mediocre that I hope could get better is I'll just save an additional Ableton file in case I want to go back to it. And importantly, I almost never go back to those ideas. So let me show you my compositional graveyard here. So here it is. This is my Sibelius project folder. You can see all the different categories I have. And the first category we're going to go into is the original compositions. And these are those 16 pieces. You can see 16 items selected down here. These are the 16 pieces that I believed were good. The piece that you heard from at the beginning of this video is this song, The Sun Is Up for a Second Time. You can see that I did transpose it. I used to transpose it to a bunch of different keys so that I could bring it to rehearsal. Let's take a look at a couple other ones. This is my latest composition that I wrote. This was for a residency called the Betty Carter Jazz Ahead residency. And I performed this piece with the group there. This is a ballad, very short ballad. I'm a fan of the 12-bar ballad because I think having a shorter form ballad is really useful to keep things very tight and not dragging over so long. All of these tunes are the same. They're going to be transposed in all the keys that I need. And then let's take a look at the 34 bad ones. So this is in my garbage tune category here. And this is all the stuff that I throw away. Basically twice as much as I saved. And some of them, like, I would transpose and print out, like this one, which I'll show at the end of the video. It's a bossa nova that's pretty mediocre. But yeah, all of these ideas I think failed for one reason or another. It could just be that they're unremarkable. It could be something specific like having a bad melody or something like that. But yeah, this is it. This one even has a rhythm section part. I hope you enjoyed getting to see this. I've never really showed anyone this folder on my laptop, and I hope it taught you something. Now, moving forwards, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these garbage tunes, this 387 George Street piece actually, and play it for you. And you'll see pretty quickly that it's a very mediocre bossa nova, one of the earlier pieces that I wrote in the history of my composing. Yeah, the melody is unremarkable and forgettable. The chord progression, I think, is very cliche and it doesn't do anything particularly interesting. And then at the end of this piece, there's just this really awkward section at the end with this turnaround and these ensemble hits that I tried to like force in here, but it doesn't really work because there's no other ensemble hits. It's just an awkward last four measures. So for these reasons, I think it's pretty mediocre. So let me play this for you, and you'll get to hear yourself why I dislike it. So, in conclusion, if you want to write better music, you shouldn't be trying to avoid the bad ideas. Just write enough music, iterate enough ideas that you're able to discard everything that's terrible, everything that you need to discard, while still generating a consistent rate of production. Throwing away ideas isn't the sign of a bad composer. I think it's the main thing that a good composer is going to do. So just stick with it and feel the freedom of accepting discarding material as a main component of composition. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that you learned something. If you did, feel free to give me a subscribe or a thumbs up, or talk to me in the comment section. You can talk to me about what your hit rate is, you think, of successful ideas to unsuccessful ideas. I'd love to hear your opinion and your experience as a composer yourself. So thanks for getting to the end of the video here. I appreciate your time, and I hope to see you in the next video.